Robert Duff is Division Chief for the Border Patrol Sector Office, RGV. Robert, thanks for stopping by. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man. We actually had a lot more fun when we had a guy named Woody. And so we played, Woody's Roundup, but we'll go with this one with you for a while. I understand that you've been busy of late since you deal with a lot of folks and having to process folks in and out of the country. So what's going on, man? I understand you guys have been flooded. Like this past weekend, we got reports of you guys dealing with hundreds and hundreds, if not over 1,000 people, I guess mostly OTMs that you've been processing this past weekend.
No, absolutely. We were very busy, and we're averaging over 1,000 a day, 1,000 apprehensions. We're just getting into the beginning of our busy season.
Now, 1,000 a day this past weekend, or like still today, you guys are busy with dealing with this flow of
I
humanity.
haven't seen yesterday's numbers, but it'll be 1,000 or just under or just over it.
Mostly OTMs?
No, year to date, it's about 73% OTMs.
Wow, dude.
Recently, since we got into April, it's trending closer to 80%.
How long have you been down here with the Border Patrol, Robert?
In the Border Patrol, I've been in over 22 years. I've been
Here
in the Valley here since July 2012.
Okay, so you pretty much have seen that trend, and you've been on the ground experiencing this trend of late. Where are you putting all these people, man?
It's tough. It's tough. If you look at where we were at last year when 500 was busy for us, 500 apprehensions a day, we've gotten a lot more efficient. We've built centralized processing centers, so we can deal with the flow a lot more efficiently. And, as you mentioned, predominantly OTMs.
Yeah.
So as we were talking at the break, it's not like back in the day in Tucson when they were the busiest sector in the Border Patrol. You could just voluntarily return folks into Mexico.
Any indication why the Valley, why Deep South Texas is the focal point right now for folks from Central America and OTMs? Why are they focusing on us? Do they see a weakness in this part of the border?
No, traditionally it's always been, the main thoroughfare for other than Mexicans, just because it's the southernmost point.
It's the closest for
absolutely.
them. Okay.
So it's more of the same. It's just that's the trend.
Division Chief for the Rio Grande Valley sector of the Border Patrol, Robert Duff, joining us in studio at 710 KURV.
Robert, then what do you need? You're talking about a lack of space. What do you need to help you do your job better right now?
And I think our prior chief, Hosa, he's been on your show several times, and he talked about, having a whole of government processing center. Unfortunately, those things take a long time, and we have been planning, with our headquarters contingent to get that done. But those things are very expensive and very time consuming. So in the meantime, we make do. We adapt, we improvise, we overcome. Under the STC, the South Texas Campaign construct, we share the wealth with our partnering sectors. So we'll send bus loads out to Laredo or Del Rio to help with the processing and kind of ease some of the burden on our.
That's
space.
a lot of buses back and forth.
Are the folks in Washington aware now that the Rio Grande Valley and not the Tucson sector is the busiest sector along the border?
Oh, absolutely, and they're resourcing us accordingly. The whole Border Patrol strategic plan is built upon resourcing the threat. So, we've got several hundred new agents in this sector, and there's several hundred more coming.
What was the situation over the weekend in which the Central American, I believe there were a number of Central American protesters?
Yeah,
were
Friday.
They seeking asylum, and there were several hundred, and maybe a couple of dozen were allowed to cross? Can you fill me in a little bit on what took place
I can
there?
tell you what I know. I know there was a large caravan coming up from Central America through Mexico protesting, civil rights violations during their travel.
Which is what is sending them up north, isn't it?
Correct.
These days. Yeah.
So, they staged on the south side of the border. The U.S. Border Patrol is an all-threats agency. So when they come across the border, we don't care if they're part of a caravan, or if it's just a regular group coming across. So it's business as usual for us.
Yeah. Which bridge did they accumulate at? Was it on San Luis? Was it the Hidalgo Bridge? It was Hidalgo.
I believe
It was the Hidalgo Bridge, right? And there were several hundred of them on that side, and of course they were kind of boisterous and vocal for a while. I'm guessing you processed some of those folks who tried to come across the border.
No, I believe it was several dozen presented themselves at the port of entry and were taken into custody. We collaborated with Office of Field Operations to make sure they had the support in case all 800 came through.
So this past weekend, Robert Duff, Division Chief for Rio Grande Valley Sector Border Patrol, our guest in studio here on 710 KURV. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday. What's the census? Or how many did you guys process this past weekend? Do you know?
We average about 1,000 processed a
Daily.
day. Yeah, we're pretty much in equilibrium right now. We've gotten very efficient.
3,000 people that you processed Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? Really?
That's spread out through 9 sectors,
Wow.
9 stations throughout the sector. But we'll apprehend 1,000, we'll process 1,000, we'll remand close to 1,000 over to ERO every day.
Can I parse with you just ballpark figure? You said a 7 out of 10, 7 to 3 ratio was other than Mexicans as compared to folks coming in from Mexico. Of those in the 70%, half are Central Americans, the other half from Africa, Asia, or because I know we get all types of people coming into the country.
It's predominantly Hondurans, Guatemalans, and El Salvadorians.
Okay.
And I would say that probably accounts for about 95% of our apprehensions.
That is a long, long trek for them across Mexico under awful conditions. These people haven't eaten properly or bathed or, for many, many days. Okay, so what happens to them once they are here? Are they being sent back to Central America? Are they being released and given a court date? What's going on with these folks?
From the Border Patrol standpoint, we process them, we screen them, we check them to make sure that they're not injured or in need of medical care, and then we process them accordingly if they're from a country other than Mexico.
Yeah, because it's easier to send the folks from Mexico just back, just send them
absolutely.
across the border.
We can control that, and when it gets busy, you can bleed off, to ease the space constrictions that we have, restrictions that we have. But no, that's what's unique about RGV is that it takes close coordination with ICE ERO to.
So most of these people, of the thousands of people that you've been processing of late, their majority of them are getting processed, as you said. They're getting the proper paperwork, getting a court date, but they're being released here, or are they being put on a plane and being sent back? Do you know what's happening?
The majority are being put on a plane.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a lot of plane flights.
Especially, there's a couple of pilot programs with
so
the
that's
Hondurans.
one major backup that you guys have been calling in. You've been calling in more flights on a regular basis?
Absolutely.
To send them out? Wow.
We're the focus of the entire U.S. government, so all eyes are here. So, we're getting the resources. It's just every day it gets a little bit busier.
Now, you said that you're getting busier because of the warmer weather then, right? Is that
well, it's just traditionally this is our busy season. It starts off in April, May, and we're getting into the thick of it right now.
All right. Well, careful out there, and thanks for stopping by, and airtime's yours anytime.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Robert, good to meet you. Robert Duff is Division Chief with the Border Patrol, joining us on 710 KURV. Time is 7:21. News, a service of Lone Star Now.